The Cheshire Plain has some of the best land in England for dairy farming and growing crops. But there's one corner of Cheshire where what's underneath the land is really important, because right now I'm standing on top of a massive deposit of rock salt which extends for round about 6 square miles. It's mined right round the clock and it produces about 1 million tonnes of salt every year. There's a massive stockpile of it that's used to keep our roads free from ice whenever the temperature drops below zero. All day long, salt is being loaded up and driven away, and I'm going to go down below now to find out where it's all coming from. Safety below ground is taken very seriously, so I even have to carry my own rather heavy supply of emergency oxygen, just in case. My guide and guardian for the day is Zoe Ellis. Proper full-size lift?
Yeah, luxury lift.
So that took about a minute by my reading.
Yeah, that's about right.
And how deep are we now?
Now at 500 foot.
So we're in the middle of a layer of salt, are we?
There's actually 4 salt beds in this area.
So how did it get here in the first place?
It's a series of inland seas, dates back over 200 million years ago, and that's how they formed, eventually drying off. And
so this was the seabed all that time ago?
Absolutely, yeah, many, many years ago now.
Well, it's not what I expected it. I mean, I expected it crawling along on my hands and knees. Well, fancy this, though, driving in a minibus through a salt mine.
The last thing you thought you'd see.
And how many miles of tunnels are there?
I believe on last count we were at 138 miles.
Wow. So it's easy to get lost, is it?
Yeah.
You have to do an underground driving test.
The equivalent of a London cabin's knowledge test. Underground here.
130 odd miles is unbelievable, really.
I know. I'm growing daily.
So where are you taking me now, then?
We just set off from the lift and we're driving up to what we call the face line. We're in mining at present.
So how long will it take us to get to the new face?
It'll take about 10 minutes, approximately.
And that's a conveyor belt, isn't it, running along the side?
Yeah, that's right. Contained on the conveyor belt at this stage is the finished product. So everything takes place underground, and then we use a conveyor belt to take it to the lift to bring it to the surface. The belts
must run for miles and miles and miles.
Yeah, I believe it runs about 23 miles.
Just before we reached the salt face, we discovered that mining has temporarily stopped. The problem is a tear in the conveyor belt, and the team repair it on the spot. So here we are at the salt face, so is it glistening away there?
That's right, we're actually still, this salt bed is actually 80 foot in thickness, but we're only actually taking with a lower 25 foot.
That's the best bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the best bit of the rock salt, so that's the bit we want.
And this is the bit that's now going to get gouged out by,
correct.
By this monster here in front of us.
That's correct.
It looks like something out of Doctor Who, doesn't it?
And this is the operator who will be running the machine today, this is Graham.
Hello, Graham, hi. So no picks and shovels for you, then?
No, we've not done that for quite a few years.
And how much can it get out?
Daily, a few thousand tonne.
So, you want to get it going?
Yeah, we'll get it going.
One thing that intrigues me is, how do you do it so that it doesn't all fall down on top of you?
Well, it's a pillar tunnel system, where we leave 20 metres of pillar, do a crosscut, 20 metres, so it's like a draft board.
And so the pillars are holding up the ceiling, really?
Yeah, so we don't get any cave-ins or anything like that.
Mining for salt hasn't only had a big impact underground in Cheshire. Just take a look at what's happening up on the surface.
This may look like an ordinary field, grass, a few trees, even some sheep. It's far from ordinary. Apparently, it's all got something to do with salt.
These two lakes, or fascias as they're called, though looking natural, have only been here since the late 19th century.
The Ashton's and Ewan splashes were formed from the collapse of the old soap mines. What they actually did was, by a process of wild brining, pumping water, dissolving the rock salt. Now, unfortunately, they didn't leave enough of the pillars to hold the ground above, and consequently they all collapsed in on itself, forming the fascias as you see today.
And now, is there any further danger of any collapse? I mean, it's all fenced off and there's a danger sign here.
Not from collapse, no. The danger actually comes from the lime waste that was stored here. Brunner-Mons arose as an industry producing soda ash alongside the salt mining. Consequently, they needed somewhere to store the lime waste, a byproduct of this industry. And what better place to store it than in big holes?
So that's created a pretty unique environment.
Yes, the salt industry, coupled with the soda ash industry that arose alongside of it, has created conditions similar to what you find in Derbyshire. So what we have here is something called calcareous grassland, better known as lime grassland. This is new in Smash. It's fantastic for wildlife, particularly for birds, passage and migrant waders. But the most exciting thing for me is the sheer numbers of lapwings that we get on here can often range into the thousands, so it's a spectacular sight.
And on the other grassy side, I noticed little Hebridean sheep grazing there.
Yes, that's right. I mean, we use sheep instead of cattle because, quite honestly, the soft lime waste, they would sink into it. But what sheep do is graze the turf very short, and this favours a species called the bird's trefoil plant. And this is the favourite food plant of the larvae of the ginger skipper butterfly and the common blue butterfly, which are rare here in Cheshire and exist only in pockets in this unique environment, whereas elsewhere in the country they are relatively common.
In here you can sort of see the lime. Are we safe walking on this bit?
We're safe on this bit, but I come on here on a daily basis, so I know where it is safe to go and where it isn't safe to go. If you were to step off there, quite literally you'd be sinking into what is essentially a toothpaste-like lime waste. You would just sink. Because of its history, the ground is too soft to build on. So through the disaster of the salt mining collapse, actually we've ended up with a fantastic nature reserve.